Good morning, Sunday Energizer. In the middle of winter, and they say there's a huge cold front coming. So at least when these go on YouTube, we have some sort of an indication of which day it was. So today is the 9th of July 2023, and we are in the middle of winter in the Southern Hemisphere, and we're very grateful for the wonderful cycles that we are privileged to share with Mother Nature, and also in our own self, in our own biorhythms and cycles within ourselves. We too need time to slow down, hibernate, regain, so that in the spring we can grow and prosper once more. So welcome everyone. Thank you for your presence this morning, and thank you for making this time available to come and explore the infinite possibilities that is available for us when we have the courage to look at ourselves and to see the wonderful potential that is continuously awaiting our command and our permission. So let's start with permission this morning. Give yourself permission today to receive greatness in yourself. So to say it and so that you can hear it, I give myself permission to receive greatness in myself today. To realize your greatness as you are now in this moment. That you don't need any more, you don't need to do it, just need to remember, because it's all here already. We just forget. We are born in forgetfulness, and we forget things so easily. So we often forget our own greatness, and we forget what a great person we truly are. And in spite of the incoming stuff, and that's what I want to talk to you about this morning, the incoming stuff, the thought forms, the negativity that we are faced with every day. And they sometimes come from people that we don't expect, and that we don't actually think that they are capable of such, but they do, and they are. So to realize your greatness as you are now, and your presence makes it so. Your presence makes it so, because your life is your message, and how you share your life, that's what determines your karma, and that's what determines what you're going to meet in the future, because your karma is your future. So your future self thanks you for what you do today, when you live your life with consideration and generosity, and when you have respect, dignity, and honor for who you are. So let's begin. Excuse me, let me just have a good coffee here before. There we go. So let's begin. I want you to, where you are sitting or where you are lying, if you're still in bed having a lovely cuppa and just enjoying your Sunday morning, it's wonderful. I want you to imagine that you are surrounded by the most divine, comforting energy. Just like if someone could pick you up and put you into these beautiful soft Sherpa blankets that you get, those really, really soft ones that become available, that when you put that around you, it feels like you're held in cotton wool in the soft cloud. So surrounded by soft, golden caring. And just to invite that into your space, that you are completely surrounded. And then to imagine that this soft, generous, and blessed, caring energy that surrounds you is connected to a magnificent light, a beam of light that is coming from the heavens and that enters your head right here at the top. You know, when the baby's born and it's got a little triangle on its head and the fontanelle, that's where the spirit and the being enters into the body. And that's where this light is now coming into your body. And as it comes into your body, when you close your eyes, you can feel its warmth. It's like a soft, warm glow, or a soft, warm oil, if you wish, that gently flows into your entire body. And as this soft warmth and this light fills your body, just feel that wherever it's flowing, it's soothing, and it's like a balm. It eases discomfort. It completely covers over any stress and worry. And it lifts it, it expands it, it makes it light and easy. And as it flows through, you feel it coming over your shoulders, into your torso here, and down into the arms, past the elbows, all the way down to the fingers. And if you wish, you can open your fingers slightly like this. You can pull it a little bit harder if you wish, if you feel that it's a bit blocked. And then that soft energy can even flow out your fingers. And you can feel as it flows out how it brings with it all that needs to be discarded. And then that energy flows across into your abdominal area, over the hips, and into the buttocks, and especially when it flows down the spine, you feel how it literally realigns your spine, and it feels as if all the vertebrae just, and it all clicks gently into place, and it reverberates, it recalibrates, it realigns you beautifully, and down into the legs, into the hamstring, and into the big femur, right down into the marrow, into the very stem cells of your body. This light permeates and enters everywhere, and it's healing, and it's soothing, and it's loving, and it's caring, down into your calves, down over your ankles, into your feet. And it feels so beautiful. It feels so soothing, and it feels so good. And now, this light, literally, you can see it shining out of every pore of your skin. And as it shines out of every pore of your skin, this beautiful golden color of the candle, you feel that it creates this magnificent golden, soothing, soft golden glow around your body. And as that glow extends into the aura and around your body, you feel completely safe and protected, and you feel so satisfied with your own presence, with your greatness, with who you be. Beyond all this inner chatter, beyond all the ego's voices, beautifully soft, gentle, calm, relaxing me time. Me time. Just for you. Good morning. Good morning. Now you are a golden ray of light in this world. Now we can begin. Welcome. When I invite you to think, what happens when I say think about something? A special space open for you in which you are the source of the results. Because when you think, you create a special space that opens. It's like a door that opens in which you are the source of the results. So in other words, when you think, you put things in motion. It doesn't just happen some of the time. It happens all of the time, even when we are asleep. So thinking is a very powerful source of your greatness. And our thinking is completely and continuously and incessantly bombarded by negativity in life, by our own ego voice, by our own ego voice that eases the good out, by the ego voice of others who wants to ease the good out of us and out of the way that we feel about ourselves. And perhaps not maliciously so, but perhaps that's just what they do in life. That's just who they are. Wherever they go, they do that, and they cause upset, and they cause, you know, negativity and bad vibes, and they cause people to worry, and they demeaning, and they leave a trail. Your life is your message, and sometimes you become, unfortunately, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, if there is such a thing. And then you need to receive these negative energies and these negative thoughts that it's got nothing to do with you, nothing, because you are a special space. When you truly master the art of thinking, you are a sacred space, a special space that opens for you in the cosmos, where you are the source of the results. And your thinking is therefore a very powerful source of your greatness. And there's a lot of things in life that wants to prevent your greatness from being, from manifesting. But the crux of the matter is that you are your own worst enemy. I am my own worst enemy, because when I use the word you this morning, please understand that I'm also including myself, because I teach best what I need to learn most. Conditioning by our culture, by society, and by family prevents this greatness from prospering, because the world is not conditioned. Our world, this planet, this earth, is not, it doesn't favor goodness. It doesn't favor harmony. It doesn't favor just the way that we have created the prevailing energies through all the thousands of years that we've been subjected to our own negativity, to the negativity of what we perceive. And what is negativity? Negativity is something that breaks down. Now, the earth is always in the process of building up and breaking down, but we don't need to break down with negativity anymore. We can also let things go in a very positive and very gentle way. But conditioning by our culture, society, and even families and friends and peers stops this greatness from being there, because we take it on attitudes and limitations and just and judgment and criticism and even skepticism and all of that stuff. We take it on. We adopt those attitudes, we adopt those limitations, and this is referred to these days as epigenetics. So it's epigenetics. You are born with genetics which you receive from your parents, from your ancestry. So it's that's how they can determine, what family and what bloodline you are in, because your DNA actually is unique, like your fingerprints. No one has DNA like you, but it is connected. So there's a very specific flow, a stream that connects everything, because the river cannot flow without its source. It is always connected. So this is referred to as epigenetics, and the external aspects becomes genes, as much as the genes that are in your cells, in your mitochondria, in your DNA. So these thoughts and negative reinforcements that we receive develop into fixed ways of thinking, that we think about things, that we think about ourselves. And very quickly, especially when we're children and we're growing up and we are in our vulnerable years, especially when we go from ages 10, 11, 12, and we start moving in that phase where we're now going into what is called the teens and the puberty. Those years we are especially vulnerable. And as adults, we still live those negative reinforcements that because it developed into fixed ways of thinking and a rightness about how we think things are. And if you don't sit with me on a Sunday morning and you get a, a, an insight and you're being shown something that you can see yourself, a little mirror, and you can see yourself in this mirror, and you can actually look at, oh, is that what's going on? Oh, is that what I've been doing? Oh my gosh. And that is called changing the context because you are given a concept. Continuously, everything in life is a concept. Here's a concept. A concept is, a specific make of car, or a concept is a specific beautiful dress that you like. It's a concept. And then you give that concept. There's the dress, but then you give, or there's the leather jacket, and then you take that concept and you give it a context. A context means that's why we text each other. We send each other words that's got meaning. You give it context, you give it meaning. Once you've given the concept some context, then it becomes a concept. um, Cancel that thought. Then it becomes your conduct. Let me start again. I'm confusing myself because this I haven't learned anywhere. This is what I live my life by. This is how it works for me. This is what I've seen and what life has taught me. So you take the concept and then you give it context, you give it meaning, and that meaning gives you conduct. Conductor, the one who creates the music in the orchestra, you become the conduct. You become the action. You become the conductor of your life. You're the one who's going to, with this context that you've created, this meaning, you're going to behave. You're going to have, you're gonna do things accordingly. And then at the end of the conduct comes the construct, the thing that you built. Now, construct means that you're building something that you're going to stand under. Because if you've made a construction, it's a very physical thing. This cup is also a construction. It was constructed in a machine. It's now the result that I can put coffee into. So the cup is constructed. The cup is the conduct, and here's the construct. So it went through a conduct process, a manufacturing process, because someone had the idea, it was the concept, and then it became a context, and they saw this is what the cup looks like. It's going to be orange, it's going to have this shape, that's the context. Then they created it by conduct. They went into a manufacturing process, they created a mold, all the stuff that does conduct, and here is now the construct. Now this I can use to put things into. And a construct is also a building that you build. Now we build many buildings in our head. We call them dream castles. We're going into to daydreaming where we build castles in our head. We construct things. And most of the time, we are in a state and we are in an attitude and we are in a fixed way where we think this is the right way to construct things here in our head, and then we want to live them. And that's where the rightness limits your freedom. Because very often the things that you construct here are boxes. They're little boxes that you want to fit everything into. And there's a rightness about how things should look. And especially that rightness manifests for a lot of people as perfectionism. They want things to be perfect. And that perfection drives them into a state of complete and utter panic. And a busyness that you cannot describe. And then they want to call that ADHD or whatever the terms is that they give these things these days. But they don't look where it's coming from. It's not something that you were unfortunately born with. No. You are born with greatness. You are born with a great mind. You are born with the ability to love and care. You are here with your life purposes to be a caring giver, not this demented, insulting, demeaning presence that you become to yourself. That you are so angry with the world and so angry with who you think you are, that you don't actually know anymore who you are and what you're about. You are so completely surrounded and imbued with this negative thinking, this negative reinforcement of, someone, even just people teasing you as a child. When you were teased, I was so teased because of my knob knees. I've got such, and to this day, I've got such I'll rather hide my knees. I don't. I'm getting better because in my old age I'm wearing all these, these tight little, um, comfortable tight pants that you could just put a jersey over like I'm doing today, and it's so comfortable to move in. So I'm getting a lot better with that. But as a child, I was obsessed with my knees, and I was so upset that I was so thin. And today I'll do anything to have that twiggy body and the knobby knees back again because I looked a bit like a stork. These little thin legs and then these big knobs and then thin legs again. I didn't even have calves. So rightness limits freedom. And it constrains our lives. And fixed rigidity, yes, see, some people become so fixed and so obsessed with their disease and their affliction that they argue for it. I was talking to a lady once, and she was arguing for her depression, that she inherited it from her mother, and her mother inherited it from her grandmother, and she's got bipolar, and she has, oh, the list was so long of all her afflictions. And I just stood with my mouth was hanging open to hear this woman was arguing for her own depression, that she must have it. And fixed rigidity in ways that demand change and dictate environments for others. Because now, with that fixed rigidity of how bad you are and how terrible you are and what a cuck person you are and how nothing about you is okay, all your greatness is forgotten, especially when you're an achiever. You just keep pushing yourself and pushing yourself and pushing yourself, and nothing satisfies you. And let me give you a little secret this morning. Simple one. Because when you can stop complicating your life and you return to simplicity, which is the recipe of nature's very simple. She doesn't like complications. So when you demand change and you dictate demand environments for others with your unhappiness and your and all the things that you can complain about and how terrible people are to you, and and sometimes it feels that way. I can sometimes hear myself speak and I'm thinking, why do people behave like this? Why can't they see that what they're doing is not necessary? That things are really simple. That you don't have to punish yourself in such a severe way and then dictate environments where others need to suffer with you. When your life becomes that others have to suffer with you, and if they don't want to suffer with you, then you depart. That's good to depart, because there's no need to infiltrate an environment that works. But if you want to be present, make a contribution with your presence, because your greatness demands that of you, to make a contribution with your presence. Your face is not even for yourself. Your face is for other people. If you're going to continue walking around moping, other people must look into your face. And most of the time, let me tell you, you receive that negative energy from outside of you. It's not even your own thoughts. The thoughts are happening to you in your head. You're just listening to them because that's how it works. And then, uh, uh, this need for personal gain of more of this negativity. You think that all this negativity gives you status. It gives you a sense of, I've got all this shit to handle, so now my life has got meaning. And, when I'm really, really busy, then, I'm a good person because busy people are good people. And most of the time when you need to be that busy, you're going to create stuff for yourself that really isn't necessary. You're going to drop things now you've got to clean up the space. You're going to bump things over now you've got to go and sort that out. You're going to drop the glass when you dry it and it's going to break. Stuff like that, nonsense. And you're going to punish yourself with feelings of guilt and there's something wrong with me and I'm not good enough and I'll never amount to anything and no matter what I do it's not good enough. That's how we are wired. To actually process like that. But it's not who you are. You're just wired like that. You don't have to sit in the darkness. You can actually switch the light on. And that's what we did this morning. We switched the light on inside. You show it the sun. You show it the fire of a flame. Look how beautiful this flame is against my hand. You show it the sun. You let go of this restrictive and suffocating existence for everyone in the process that's caught in the shackles of this negativity. All this that we choose to live with becomes the opposite of a win-win, because if I'm in this terrible morose conduct, how can I possibly create a great construct? How can I possibly create an environment where things can prosper? You can't expect when you most of the time harboring all this dark negative thoughts that you're going to create a life of bliss and wonder. How? It doesn't work like that, because this stuff is ingredients. It's stuff that you are putting into the hand of life, with which the hand of life needs to create a result for you. Because in the result, you're not continuously present. I mean, I've lit this candle, but I'm not continuously present burning in this flame so that the flame can be there. I've lit the flame. I was instrumental, but I'm not now having to give my energy so that this thing can burn. I can continue. It's doing its thing. You don't have to continuously engage yourself with all the energies that prevail in order to be a good person or to be functional, or be like a sponge and absorb everybody's cuck and negatives and just the inability to see anything in a positive and a beautiful light. Everything's always wrong. And everything is always, no. When your life is your message, your life works. And there's no need for you to become sick. There's no need for you to be ill. There's no need for you to suffer. Because life was not created that way. We live on a planet that's paradise. You just need to look at the different. I mean, if you look just China, the nature that is found in China, the way that this planet looks, it's like you're on. I mean, that's where they filmed Avatar. It's like you're on another planet. Just this globe is something phenomenal that we have been given to live on and to experience. And what are we doing with most of it? With most of our lives, we live in a state of unreason, of you're doing things that you don't understand yourself. and you're like literally confused most of the time, feeling like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? What's my life about? Your life starts feeling meaningless and hopeless, and young children are feeling that today. You don't have to be an adult to feel that stuff anymore. And it's not true, it's an illusion. Because you are made of greatness, you are made of such pure joy and bliss and a state of feeling just fabulous for no reason. You're just feeling good. And life just feels, nah, you've got everything you need. Warm bed. At night when I let the dogs out to go and have a wee before we go to bed, I stand in that doorway and I'm thinking, it's icy out here for people that live on the street. It's ice cold outside. I'm so blessed to have a home and a warm bed and two beautiful animals to care for, and that keeps me company. It's wonderful. I've got so much to be grateful for. And not because I'm grateful, it's like, yeah. No, not like that. Just, it's good to know that I've got things that really gives me comfort and that makes my life feel good. You must know it, because it's true. And when you know it, that's the concept. This is possible. It's a concept. When you know it and you give it the context of your greatness, of knowing that who you are is a phenomenal contribution to wherever you go. You just bring light. And many people will be against that and tell you that the light is red when the light is green. And you can take the boxes out. Between these two temples, you can take the boxes out. You can be who you are. You can be your greatness. It's a wonderful agreement you make with yourself. And this is currently being shown. This beautiful truth is currently being shown in such a guided and constructed way by dear Stanley Beckett, who's one of my long-time students, and that I'm so grateful that I can sit in his space as my master today, as someone who's teaching me. Because it's nice to have someone that shows you a mirror that is a pleasure to look into. That when you see yourself in this mirror, you know. Concept, you know. Context, I respect myself. I respect myself because what I'm looking at makes me feel good and I see myself and I feel good when I look at that. Because when I do things, I give my best always. And that's why when I go to bed at night, my pillow is a clear conscience. I have a clear conscience because I live by what I do to others. It's okay if that gets done to me. Because I live by certain standards and values that if I ask that of you, it means that I've done that first. And when you start living there, you start realizing that some things are being said to you that's got absolutely nothing to do with you. And that you don't need to stay around to be abused. There's no need. Then you must vote with your feet. Then you must turn the other cheek. Because that's what turning the other cheek means. Doesn't mean that you've got to turn your cheek to be smacked again. When I asked this question of my master and my teacher, Jesus, I said, because he's not for me the religious figure. I have a relationship with a master teacher. And I asked, what does it mean to turn the other cheek? I was told, turn the other cheek means look away. Because when you turn the other cheek, you look away. You look away from the abuse. You look away from the negative thought forms that are coming your way because it's got nothing to do with you. And when you look away, you don't stay here, you move away. You vote with your feet. You walk away. And when you walk away with dignity because you're not walking away because you're feeling malicious. You're walking away because you respect yourself and you no longer want to be subjected to such vicious and malicious negative thought forms. And those negative and malicious thought forms are not just coming from outside of you. They're coming from thoughts that happen in your head. You think them. They are your own thoughts, but they're happening. You're not thinking them. They're being recycled through your unconscious mind, through your childhood experiences, through the epigenetics that you were subjected to when you grew up. And now, when fixed rigidity sets in, it becomes a constant compromise. Because in fixed rigidity, you need to compromise a lot of things. When you're stuck in your rightness. Because there's a big difference between being stuck in your rightness and then you call it my truth, and dealing with the truth, dealing with a truth, not yours. One that's consensus to everyone, because that's a win-win. When we're dealing with the truth, we all go, yeah, that's true. We don't have to argue about truth. You argue about rightness, about how it should be for you. Truth is how it works. Whether you like it or not, it was like that before you arrived here. And when you go into the negativity, I want to share with you now, because it's not just what I say, because when I create these, I always go and have a look at what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling and what I'm receiving from someone else who was exploring the same subject, because we explore the same subjects in life. We do. We have the similar experiences. You find people that have lived a life that's almost identical to yours because we explore the same subjects. That's all it is. We're taking the concept and we're giving it context. And that context can be religion, it can be community, it can be a family. It's simply just the context. And then you live that as your conduct, your life is your message. And then you have a result. And the result normally means that, we all need to agree with each other, otherwise we're at war. And when we're at war, one person's going to put the flag up and say, I surrender, I'm not fighting anymore, and they're going to walk away. Because when someone walks away, there can't be a fight anymore. It's the sound of one hand clapping. The fight stops. And normally the one that surrenders gets blamed as the baddie. And, the only thing that happens when you're caught into this shackles that of negativity, of always thinking about, the worst case scenario first. And please, I'm not judging you because I do the same. I teach best when I need to learn most. Oh my God. I think I'm getting a lot better. But my teacher used to say, that's not good enough, Charlotte. It either works or it doesn't. You can't say I'm getting better. You must say it works for me or it doesn't work for me. Because the light's on or it's off. It's not trying to be on. It's not getting better. It's on. So you've got to switch the light on. And otherwise you are going to be caught in the shackles. And And the shackles give you only resentment because you're constantly in compromise. And resentment ultimately becomes a rage, which you first and foremost take out on yourself, through the things that you do, how you self-destruct, and how you do things that you always afterwards feel sorry about and mostly ashamed. And excuse me, my nose is itching. I'm listening. When my guides speak to me, my nose always itches because my mother always used to say, when your nose itches, you're going to be uh, irate with someone. You're going to feel frustrated with someone. So now my nose itches because my guides are frustrated with me because I don't listen. So that's why my nose itches. The association is still with my mother. So I'm going to read to you from the book. What's the time? Almost done. I'm going to read to you from the book it's called Healing Negative Energies by Anne Jones. And I've had this book for a long time. So I'm going to read just a short extract from the book to validate what I've been sharing with you. That's all. It's always just for validation. We always in life need authority. then we believe something when it's said by someone who's an authority. Otherwise, if it's said by someone who's just a it's just a voice in the darkness. They don't listen most of the time. You got to have status and you got to have lots of authority. But truth sometimes finds you in the most unexpected places. So, again, her name is Anne Jones, Healing Negative Energy. She says, conditioning by our culture, society, and family. This can become shackles that hold us back from enjoying and living life to the full, binding our minds and our spirit in negative thought patterns, such as, I can't do that. I can't. That becomes the anthem of a lot of people these days. I can't. I can't take it anymore. I can't do this. I can't hold on anymore. I can't live like this. I can't. That's what they're constantly reinforcing through their negative thinking. I can't do that. Or I'm not good enough for this. I'm not qualified. I'm not this. I'm not, impressive enough. I don't have enough followers. Thank God I don't do this to have followers. I do this because it's something that needs to be said and people need to listen. It's not for fame and fortune. Listen, those who have the eyes to see must see, and those who have the ears to hear must listen. And you must hear. Now is a good time to take a clear look at your upbringing and see if your own attitudes and mindset have been affected by your culture, by your religion, by your parents, by your schooling, by, oh, this one doesn't like me, and oh, that one doesn't approve of me, and I'm not good enough for this one. Bullshit. You got to be yourself. Not everybody's the same. We all got to be ourselves. We've got to be in a context and a conduct and a construct that makes the world a place where but you first have to be that for yourself. You can't expect other people to make you feel that. Now you've got to look. Were you chastised for lack of performance in your youth? Was there somebody who constantly told you that you weren't doing enough? Do you now never believe that your work is good enough? Do you consider financial success as the yardstick for your personal success, for your spiritual growth? Because to get those two in alignment takes a while. And it will only happen if that becomes your focus, that you need to gain materially, because you always provided for. That you should know by now. You always have enough. You always have enough for one day. There's no accumulation as such. You need to know that what you have is enough. Do you find fault in your figure or your body? Do you constantly look at yourself and think that there's something wrong with you? I don't know, there was something that was pulling my eye this way. So do you constantly feel guilty for one reason or another? You even feel guilty for being not good enough. If somebody doesn't like you the way you want them to like you, for instance. It happened to me so often at school. I was always comparing myself to other kids, and how they were liked and how I wasn't liked. Because I was always, most of the time as a child, I was excluded. Because of my own attitude. I couldn't understand why people were so cruel to each other as a child. It really always amazed me. And I couldn't understand why kids were so vicious to each other and why they did such horrible things and why they was bullied. They would be bullying, and I was bullied as a child. In an emotional and mental way. Not someone clapping me around the ears. No, thank God that I waited a very long time before I did that. Before I allowed myself to have that experience. So what you now need to see is when you start answering yes to these questions, it indicates that you are affected by the mindsets of others. And this means that you have now created very negative attitudes towards yourself. Why? You need to be aware of your own greatness, because that's what you're here to share. You need to share greatness that's in transit through you. Listen to Bridget, she's even agreeing. When she hears a hoot in the street, she goes absolutely berserk, just like I do. She takes it from me. When people constantly hoot, and it used to irritate me immensely. I'm getting better. You see, I'm getting better. So throughout your life, you may have created a perception of yourself based on the words and actions of others. And dominant, intolerant, or impatient parents, even teachers that are dominant, intolerant, and impatient, peers, friends, siblings, sisters, brothers, that may have suggested that you are slow or lazy or arrogant or unintelligent and. You may also have had some negative experiences like, maybe failing an exam or losing a job or, being rejected in a relationship and, not feeling good enough because, for whatever reason. That was always my experience. I always ended up being rejected for some reason that I wasn't good enough. But it was actually I that was doing the rejecting, not them. Because I was rejecting myself. And I was the one who have taken all these experiences to heart and decided that you're not worthy of success, love, or happiness. Over the years, you may have gradually lost your self-esteem. And that's what happens. It starts with no self-esteem. You don't think anything of yourself. Because self-esteem includes a lot of things. But it begins with self-respect, by having respect for the light that you are, for the greatness that you represent, because you do things in your life and you do them well. Life is showing you, you're doing well. You have the capacity for greatness. Greatness is not always related to what you do. Greatness is a state of being. And when you are in a state of being called greatness, then you become a gift to the world. Because then you live your basic intrinsic needs. You live as an example, and you always feel that you belong. But when you lose your self-esteem, Even now, you may find that you don't like yourself very much, especially if you're always comparing yourself to others. So you may have lost your self-respect. And when there's no longer, and I always say this, when there's no longer respect in this picture, when there's no longer respect between you and the other, when respect is absent, and respect always includes dignity and honor. When you don't treat the space with dignity and honor, there's no respect. When there's no respect, there's no dignity and honor. It's a sacred triad. But respect is at the top. So I'm inviting you, when I close the session, because it's almost time to go, I invite you to look at your life and really look at your life with self-respect, with respecting who you are, the things that you do in life, what is, not what you make small, what you make insignificant, but the things that you do on a daily basis. When you really think about all the things that you're managing, and whatever age you are, I mean, Jesus, the things that kids are managing at the age of 10 and 12 and 14 and 15 today, I cringe. I don't think I could manage it myself, because the way that time functioned when I was that age was much slower. Things didn't happen at the pace that they happen today. These kids are operating, young children, adolescence, puberty. We don't have any idea at what pace these children are operating at. As I don't. I have no clue. Because I know that I wouldn't be able to do it. The way that I was created would not have handled that pace. I don't see myself doing it. All the kids that those young, all the things that those young, I mean, 16, 17, 18 exams for a child that's aged 12 or 13 is inhuman. Plus they've got sport and they've got other things to do, and they belong to the, I don't know, these kids are busy, man. At that age, there's no time to be a child. No, you must enjoy life. Life is meant to be enjoyed and not to be so negative about. Because you have never been given any more than you can handle. Why do you worry about everything the way you do? Put it down. Drop the baggage. Get out the box. Don't go there. It's not necessary. That's not how life works. And going there has got no meaning. It's got no context. Give it the proper context. Give it the proper meaning so that your life works for you. Because you can. And it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just give it the proper context. And your whole life changes. It's the most simple and uncomplicated thing that even the youngest child can do. Just think about it differently. Give it different meaning. Not the meaning that you think you're getting. Give it the meaning that's going to give you the context that will give you the way to behave, that's going to give you a result that you like. It's not about the world. It's about who am I? Do I like myself? Can I like myself when I'm with you? If I don't like myself when I'm with you, what am I doing there? Either I'm going to change who I am and be true to myself, or I'm going to succumb. What are you going to succumb to? Misery, depression, not feeling good enough, hating your life, nonsense, rubbish, illusion, stuff that don't exist, but only in your thinking. Change your thinking. Don't go to low self-esteem because you are going through a process where you are now thinking in a way that becomes detrimental to where you want to be. You know, some people develop obsessions with things. They'll go into a, a, a behavior that makes them feel like they're doing something well. You don't have to wash your hands 100 times a day to do something well. You wash your hands once, they're clean, man. I sometimes have to force myself and remember, when last did you wash your hands? And I wash my hands a lot in front of people because, you know, some people are so obsessed with washing their hands these days. It's crazy. And that's all stuff that you've been given through your epigenetics. It's not who you are. Something outside of you has given you that belief, and now you're so strongly engrossed in that belief that that's what you do, and that becomes a fixed rightness, a fixed habit. And nothing in the world will change that habit because you've made an agreement with it. It's a contract. Change the context. There's something wrong in the context. It's not the way that it's being done. It's not necessary. Your body is already showing you the signs that this is not how it works. You're destroying here. You overcompensating here. You're destroying something. You must change it because you now need to choose things, self-respect. Because otherwise you're going to continuously choose things that will be abused and that will be emotionally and physically abusing you. Like your obsessions. It abuses you. It's abuse. That's not something that's serving you, it's abusing you. And that's what you choose to go for. No. And that's what you can change. Everyone that's listening to me today, just go and change that. How you respect yourself and how you do things, because you do things to actually punish yourself. It's not something that you're enjoying, but you can't stop it. It's an obsession. I suppose in psychology it would be referred to as a neurosis or a psychosis. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't say. But it's one of those two, or even both. That you deny yourself feelings of achievement at the end of the day, even just to look at your day and go, wow, that was a good day. I did a lot. That you need to start cultivating some appreciation for yourself because you don't feature in any of this. And that's not healthy, because if you don't feature in any picture, I can assure you life will take you out of there. You must include yourself, otherwise you won't feature. And I've chosen not to include myself since I was a child. And I always felt excluded for that reason, because I didn't include myself. I chose things that made sure that I would not be included. It wasn't necessarily by my conduct, but the context was I'm not included. So that's what I manifested. And it's something that I grew up with and that I still do today, because it's a fixed rightness. And there's nothing's wrong. It's just a fixed rightness. And if you're not going to take charge of that fixed rightness, your life is going to be compromised in many ways. And you can do it with pleasure. No one stops you. Really, ultimately, you're going to do what you want. But just know that when you do it, you are going to be the one who's going to have the consequence, not the people that you're going to think that around you that care for you is going to suffer because of it. Please. They've got enough on their plate. They can't suffer for you as well. So that's my story for today. And I trust that this, until I meet with you again at the end of the month. I think it's the last or the third Sunday, I'm not sure. Until I see you again, please have respect for yourself and look at who you are in life and live your greatness.